All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Hello and welcome. It is time for the penultimate round. It is round 15 of the ISRL Division 1 Championship, and we are here in Imola. It's the second Italian Grand Prix we are going to have here, but this time not at Monza, at Imola, like I mentioned. Hello and welcome, everybody. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the stream. My name is Fallen Monkeys, or Eric, here in the commentator's booth to take you through the action, joined by Jamie, of course. And Jamie, how are you doing? How are you feeling today? Excited for the racing action we've got in store for us?
Definitely after Saudi Arabia. We weren't here we weren't partnered together last week, but we're here again. Saudi Arabia was a good race in Division 2, hopefully it was in Division 1. I'm on board with Killer Blue, he's just missed the apex into that chicane there, but yeah, I'm excited to be here again with you, and hopefully it'll be a good race here in Imola. I've already seen one race so far as a commentator to pass. It usually provides good racing, but that was in the wet, but hopefully let's see what the drivers could do here tonight's race.
Yep, and you mentioned
Somebody's got off the track, mate.
Oh yeah, it looks like that's a
Passay.
McLaren. That's Passay who's off the track there on your screen. Just letting drivers through, coming back on now as the times are starting to fall. Looks like for now it's, well, it was rotation. Now Jérôme Visser, who occupies that provisional pole position, a 114.2 here on the timing tables. As I put up the tire, everybody here opting for a set of soft tires for their first qualifying laps. A little bit interesting, given we tend to see, at least in these early stages, a little bit of a shake-up. Some drivers looking at the mediums, but it looks like here so far everybody just wants to be on that quicker tire, set the lap time on the soft tires here, which I mean, call me a conspiracy theorist. I'm gonna put my little tinfoil hat on, but generally when I see this kind of attraction to the soft tires, I'll say, tends to lead me to think we might be seeing some rain for the start of the Grand Prix.
Possibly, you can see the weather out there looking all cloudy and all that, so it could change potentially in the race. As you said, people already getting in their bank of lap times on the soft compound tyres. Nobody out there on the mediums, all 20 of them came out, and if you messed up your lap time, you have to get out of the way for all of them, which Passay did. I believe he's back in the pit lane, so you're going to have to try and go for it again. There's 5 drivers who haven't set a lap time yet. Nathan's one of them who's coming around that penultimate corner now. There's a bit of traffic or compartmentalists in the wheel. Get a bit of a turbulent air, a bit of a disturbance from the car there. Might get a distance to shoot, not anymore because he dives into pit lane, and let's see where Nathan goes. That's not ideal for Nathan, but P3 the case anyway. That's a very good lap time despite getting hauled up in traffic there, and it's his second lap time on those soft compound tyres, so he must have validated or made a mistake on his first run. So good luck recovery there from Nathan JB in P3. Isa Kush pips him by a few hundreds.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, the two drivers I was looking at there, both Izat Kush and Nathan JB, setting good lap times, and I'm starting to notice a bit of a trend other than Passay, and I guess now Feral Fury, who dove into the pits, those who weren't able to get that lap time set the first time around, it looks like they went for it once again. Now, I thought AJ Wuhan was going to get something on the board here, but not only does he not get a lap time set, could just be on my end, but it looks like the time is still ticking for his previous lap time.
Looks like he's not even driving the car. Looks like the AI is driving the car. Oh, he's left the session.
Yeah.
It must
have been yeah, a little out of sync, a little disconnection there. So hopefully he's got it set. It looks like the time did actually register now. It was I'll say a pedestrian 1:16.1 for AJ Wuhan, down in 18th there, but you got to wonder how much of that was his driving and how much of that was the AI maybe taking over and finishing that lap. But for now, Jerome occupying that provisional pole, a 114.2, Wouter getting very close with the 287, and even Total P's continuing that might that we've seen over the last few weeks, up into third, a 114.3. So some good lap times, very close so far here in the first few laps, and I'm sure it's probably going to get even closer as we continue onwards. Now, Jamie, I know you mentioned you hadn't seen too much racing here in Imola. I mean, I haven't either, but from what I saw, as far as Division 2 was concerned, it was really hard racing action, lots of battles on track, and I will say a little bit of a DRS train with everybody sticking together, and I think here in Division 1, that's probably going to be a bit of a, I'll call it a key to victory here, a key to success around this track. There is only one DRS zone, which is that I'll call it the very long start-finish straight leading into turn 1, which is the prime overtaking opportunity. So if you can stick within that 1 second marker for DRS, you're going to have, I guess, a much better time than if you're stuck trying to climb your way back outside of that 1 second mark, because the DRS I've seen is very powerful here on this track. From what I noticed in Division 2 and even my own race in Division 4. But I've got Passé on my screen right now, looking to see what his first lap time is going to be. It's 50 point something through Sector 2. So we'll see what the lap time is going to look like, as he's only got a couple corners to go. Those last 2 corners, I mean, I guess not quite a double apex final corner, really just 2 separate corners there. And as he heads towards the line, what's the McLaren driver going to do here? It's P14, 115.2 for Passé, so maybe he needs to find a little bit more in the tank to put himself up into that top 10 showing.
Maybe it's just of a hesitation there, because he did spin on his previous lap time, so it's probably due to the lack of confidence he has around this track. This track, it's very, very difficult indeed to get right. Hitting all the apexes, try not to go out wide, try not to spin the car, and the classic gravel tracks as well. This is a classic track, so it's going to be very difficult for those drivers to manage. Eklund has just invalidated his lap time. He's just backed off coming through the fast left-hander there. I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, he's backed out. But a 15.2 needs to try. Giroud's gone quicker with a 30.9. So he's the first driver in the 13. So that's a very good lap time there from Giroud. Can anybody respond to that? I wonder. What's Walter doing? Ferg, his teammate, Giroud's teammate's got P2. That's a good lap time from him as well. Back on form. Ferg got a podium in one of the leagues I commentated, and he's doing a fantastic job yet again. Is the Mercedes driver, separated by 3/10. I wonder where Walter is on his lap. What's he doing?
I don't think it's going to be any quicker. As he crossed, his time in Sector 2 was about 7 seconds slower than his best lap time. So I think there must have been a mistake somewhere early on, maybe around Sector 1, I would say, for Walter to abandon that lap. XL Tin Can, as I switched over to him, had an invalidation on his next lap, so he's going to be remaining with a 114.6 on the board. And I'm also seeing Isaac Kush, who I've got on my screen right now. He's currently running his second flying lap, sitting in P5 right now, but we'll see if he can improve as he's approaching the end of Sector 2. And it looks like there's a Mercedes driver who's just parked up there in Sector 2. I think just letting drivers through. Oh yeah, I guess
spun out. I was aboard with AJ. He validated to that fast left-hander, but Fiore lost traction coming uphill and therefore lost his full wing, as you can see if you're on board with him. So he has come back into pit lane, currently on a 90.9. Yeah, so AJ, who else was it? I think it was Killer Blue. No, Killer Blue didn't improve on his lap time. He was a few hundreds up in the middle sector, but when he came to the last sector, he actually lost 2/10 as Isa Kush pops himself up into second place. As you can see, AJ is going for it again on the same set of tyres, so let's see if we can finally pop a representative lap time on the board for him. Walter has evaluated 2. Nathan's got up into P5. Good job from him with a 14.3. Total P's is coming around the penultimate corner now. Hits the apex nicely, brings it out wide. Does the same for this one as well. Uses all the curb on the right, try not to invalidate. And let's see what lap time Total P's can set in the Alpha Male. And it's up into P3 with a 14.1, only a few hundreds away from Isa Kush. So good job from Total P's to get himself on the second row alongside Ferg there.
Yeah, some very good lap times indeed, but still nobody able to crack that sub-minute 14 barrier other than Jerome, who was able to get that done only just with that 13.9. I think Mark had just crossed the line. I didn't quite get to see if it was an improvement or not, but it looked like he's going to be remaining in P7 with that lap time, whether it was an improvement or not. But the 114.482 is that best time for him so far. And let's see, who else is running a lap? I see Jamie's...
oh no, he's just invalidated this.
Yeah, I've got Rotation and Jamie, who are just starting, Jamie approaching the end of Sector 1 here in the Haas. And crucially, he's a tenth of a second up on his time, so going faster through the first sector. And I'll stick with him here. I'll jump on board with Jamie. We'll get an idea of his lines through Sector 2, and we'll see if he can keep that up. Maybe find a little bit more time to save here on his current flying lap compared to his best. Oh, a little bit of a tank slapper on the exit of that. I'll call it the double apex corner, but still faster, about a tenth of a second faster. So it didn't look like there was too much of a time loss there. But there is a little bit more time to be saved for Jamie 1 if he chooses to run out and do one more lap after this one. But around the final 2 corners he goes, and we'll see where he's going to put that Haas. If he sticks with a 10th up, he might just jump a position and finds a little bit more here. So 114.729 was good for 10th, but rotation goes ahead and sets a 114.6. to bump Jamie down to P11 there at the end of their laps.
Indeed. I think Jamie could have found a bit more time through 2 or 3 turns. He didn't really hook up the exit as he would have wanted. But we've got Eckler another lap time. He validated again, second time in a row. He's validated in the same place, down at P18, so that's not good for him. How many minutes we got left on the board there? Can't really see.
A little around 5 minutes last I saw, so...
yeah, 5 minutes. There should be plenty of lap time left. Well, time left to set a lap time. Probably 2 laps maximum for him. But yeah, coolly down there. P18. We don't expect him to be down there, but obviously with the difficulty of this track, drivers are proving they're struggling so much, and just waiting for the top runners to come out of the pits. We've got Ferg on his out lap in the Mercedes. Came out very early indeed, with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. Obviously, with it being a short track, is like you could do more than 3 laps as your maximum, because that's the absolute max for 3 laps in short qualifying. You can do more than that, especially with this track with 1 minute 50 to go. I'll take you through that with Ferg if you want me to.
Yeah, for sure. I'll switch over to Ferg very quickly now, so I'll let you lead us through as we're heading into turn 1.
Well, brake for the 50-meter board. You want to take it down to 4th gear. Some people use 5th, short shifted 5th on the exit. You want to hit the curve there, run it out wide. Not too wide though, that was perfect there for Ferg. Just in the boundaries of the track limits there. Flick it in, slow it down, hit the curb here, run it out wide again. Then bring it all the way to the right hand side, brake for the 50-meter board. Just flick it in, careful on traction there, get back on the power, short shifted as well to maintain the rear stability. Then come into this left-hander here, just flick it in, downshift as 5th. Misses the curb there, but doesn't go out wide so much. And there's a car in their way. Flat out for the first part of here. Bring it to the left-hand side, hit the apex, or the rear slider just a bit. There's somebody spun ahead of him, which is Krishna. Hopefully it doesn't affect him too much. And a 10th down in the middle sector, so be aggressive through here. You want to carry a lot of speed through there. But he didn't really hook up that apex in the second part of the chicane there, so lost a bit of time going into that corner. Downhill braking zone, not really a reference around here, but obviously him running racing line will help him. Run it out wide on the exit here, and he goes into pits. He knows that's not a good lap time, so he has to back out of it. And you've got enough time to set another lap time, so he's actually retired, so he does not go for it.
Interesting call from Ferg to not go out one more time.
Maybe he did have an extra set of softs in his allocation.
Yeah, could have been the case. That I'm not 100% too sure if he had set 2 laps or 3 laps, but for Ferg, similarly to rotation now, they've called it quits. And I noticed even XLRJ now, as he's finished with qualifying, we've got 2.5 minutes to go, so in theory there would have still been time, as Nathan JB was on board with him, but invalidates through that the corner right before the end of Sector 2. I really don't have the corner numbers, unfortunately, but I just called that double apex corner that you mentioned. You just full throttle for that first half of it, then quickly down to 4th for the second half of it. The one Isaac Kush that we're on board is coming through now. Let's see if he handles that better. Yes, he does, but very pedestrian here around that corner. Looks like he's more on an out lap than a flying lap right now.
He's on a timed lap. I think he may have made a mistake at his first part of the lap. As you can see, he's already used the EOS and he's on an out lap, so maybe he's going for another second push to get a second lap in on those set of softs. You never know. Get fully up to temperature in the working range and window as he gets out of the way for Krishna. Krishna, where is he? He's currently down to P16. We did see him spin earlier, but he's coming around The penultimate cornered out, doesn't go out too wide. DRS comes up shortly, so does the line, and he'll go up into P11, so just outside the top 10 there. Ideal starting place if you want to be on a brand new set of tyres, for the race. Walter's backed off his lap time as well. Where's Total Peas? Total Peas has a Valencia. Where's Jeroen? Jeroen in the middle sector. Oh, never mind. He's not on a lap time.
I was watching him earlier, and Jeroen Visser had actually backed out of his lap around Sector 2 as well. So it looks like a lot of the top runners, similarly to what we saw from Izat Kush, just backing out. But now, crucially, Izat Kush, it looks like he's backed out of this lap as well. So wasn't happy with the way it started out, letting drivers through. But with 38 seconds to go in qualifying, I think he might have missed his opportunity to improve, as now Nathan JB puts a lap together, and he jumps up to the front row of the grid. He goes up into second here with a near 1:14 flat on his second lap time. So definitely one he's going to be happy about. But now as qualifying is slowly ticking down here, we'll have to see how everybody else is going to react. It looks like Jeroen Visser is about 1/10 of a second quicker through Sector 1. So this is looking to be a better lap, as Mark goes up into P3 with a near 1:14 flat as well. Qualifying is ticked down to a close, so it's going to come down to the final laps from these drivers. I'll stick with Jeroen for now to see if he can possibly improve. He's 1/10 of a second quicker through Sector 2, takes a lot of curb through the chicane before the final corner there, but keeps it valid, which is very crucial here for that lap to give himself a bit more of a cushion, with a couple of quick drivers still with lap times remaining. Around the final corner he goes, and as he charges to the line, is it going to be faster? Yes, Whoa. It is. A 1:13.619 as Izat Kush is into the pits. So I think it might just come down to Wouter now, as he's coming around the final corner. So let's see what the Ferrari driver can do. He's heading towards the line. It's going to be close. It's a 1:14.086. So only good enough for P5 for Wouter there. But crucially, puts himself just ahead of what is his main championship rival here, Izat Kush, who's down in 6th.
That was a brilliant lap from Jeroen Visser there, using all of the track, just hitting every apex, flick it in the corners. That was beautiful. Keeping the minimum speed up, no mistakes there from Jeroen Visser. 3/10 quicker. That was fantastic from him. He's looking for revenge after losing the race towards Walter in another league. Or was it Total Peas? I can't remember, but he's looking to win this race.
Yeah, definitely out with a vengeance here, and he's done a great job of that here in this short qualifying session, taking that pole position. But of course, the job is only half done here, as qualifying has come to a close. What's that?
Nathan JB has surprised me a lot. I know he's been struggling in this league and other leagues as well, but he's up into P3, and I really hope fortune comes his way, because he deserves it. I really hope he gets changing fortune. But like you said, Izat Kush, one place behind his championship rival P5 there, Walter. Both avatars in P8 and P9, Larkin in P10, and Krishna, it will be one of the first highest medium winners in P11, because he gets to start what tyres he wants to, be outside the top 10, so we'll see what he can do.
Yep, and that's a bit of an assumption here that he's going to be putting on the mediums. They have seemed like a bit more of the racy, the racy tire from what I've noticed. As we've jumped into the race lobby. All right, tinfoil hat on my end has been taken off here, as it's nice and sunny to start the race. So top 10 will be starting on that set of soft tires, which might play a little bit of a disadvantage to some of the runners who did that extra preparation lap on those soft tires right at the end. But we'll see how that's going to play out. Of course, when I'm thinking about the tire strategy here, I've seen a lot of soft tire to hard tires here, but if you can essentially, in theory, do a soft to mediums, you're just going to have to extend one of those stints a little bit longer. But I do think those who are going to start on the mediums might end up just giving that try of mediums to softs, because I really don't see much of an advantage doing a medium to hard strategy here. Well, not just around this track, but really around any track here.
Yeah, I think the tyre wear is good enough around here in Imola, so it's just a simple soft medium or medium soft, or soft medium soft, depending on the late safety car. Because the definition, there's a high chance of a safety car around here would lose it very easily. Runoff areas as well, but it's very easy to hit the wall. We've seen people, or I've seen people do it at turn 4 with a lost traction going down turn 4, just lost the rear and just slam into the wall. Where else can they lose it? Anywhere else really, but high chance to hit the wall is probably at turn 4. Most of it's runoff area. But we'll see. Can Drew Vizzer get a good start off the line? Because I know total P's in other leagues has been absolutely on form with his starts off the line, just manages to jump people. I don't know what he does, but yeah, optimal position started P2. Can he get him off the line? I've seen these two go toe to toe in Imola before. Can we see a repeat of that as well? Nathan JB up in P3, so he's also had practice of a different race in Imola. We'll see what he could do. Let's look at tyre strategies. Only one person on the hards.
Yeah, AJ Wuhan, the only driver on the hard tires, so looking to run possibly that reverse strategy, go a little bit longer here. You're seeing the predicted pit stop strategy for the softs. They're predicting a 2-stop. I think we're both in agreement that the tire wear is going to be okay enough to make a 1-stop work
Yes.
fairly easily, but I mean, you did predict right for the most part. P11 downwards, all on the harder compound tires. Other than rotation and Feral Fury, looks like the two Red Bulls have a little bit of a different strategy, looking to go a little bit more aggressive off the line here and try to gain a couple positions. And interesting here seeing Wouter and Izad Kush coming together on the formation lap, both getting sent to the grid. It was essentially approaching that final few corners, so I don't think they're going to miss out on too much. But of course, they might their tires, their brakes might be a little cooler than the rest of the field, which could possibly affect the jump off the line here, as we're seeing everybody else take their grid spots to get ready for the 5 red lights and the 32 laps here around Imola. So here we go. It looks like the drivers are ready. I'm ready. Jamie, hope you're ready too, because we're up to 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights. After a long set of lights, we are off and racing here in Imola, as it looks to be a pretty good start from everybody. Jerome getting a nice jump off the line. Nathan JB and Mark actually having a little bit of a battle heading into turn 1 as they're side by side, making a little bit of contact. I saw somebody having to go wide, and it looks like Ferg wants to get involved here a little bit in that battle for that final podium position. But it looks like the top 2 make it through relatively safely. But oh no, there's a Williams that spun. That might have been, I believe that was Krishna who had a moment. No, that was Mark that spun?
Larky's dropped down to P20. He was in the top 10, so I think he was one of the spinners. But
it
good start from Giroud. Yeah, very good start for Giroud. Total P started in P2, nothing more he could do. But that was a good battle between Mark and Nathan, going side by side through the first 3 corners of Nathan having the edge on Mark there. Ferg went wide through turn 6. That allowed Wild to get through, as you saw in P5. But more yellow flags further down. And who was that? That's some cars squabbling over P18. That's Krishna, Larkin, and AJ. AJ Wuhan's had a shocker on those hard tyres, and he's dropped down to P20 as Larkin goes down the inside of Krishna. Good move there from him.
Yep, and it looks like Knight a little bit further down the field, gaining a couple positions. You got to hand it to the 2 Red Bulls, though. Feral Fury from all the way around there, all the way up to P11. Rotation holding, essentially holding positions. But now you're starting to see a couple pit stops here after the, I'll call it the lap 1 chaos. Rotation, Jamie, Larkin, AJ Wuhan, and Krishna all having to take pit stops here at the end of lap 1. I think AJ is probably the one who's suffering the most, having planned to go much longer than that with that set of hard tires. He's going to have to essentially adapt this strategy a little bit as he puts on a set of mediums now.
Yep, indeed, and obviously have to do another pit stop with those mediums. Car goes to the end, but JB1 is on the hard compound tyres, so I expect him to go to the end, but obviously he started outside the top 10, so he's just get rid of that medium, put in a brand new set of hards. And if the safety car does come his way, he can fit onto a brand new set of mediums, because I believe you get two brand new mediums for the race anyway, or one brand new medium because you've used the other one. So that's why he's on the hard compound tyre, hoping for a late safety car, then he can switch over to that medium compound tyre, as he's already used the hard compound tyre, different compound, but out in front. Total P is keeping tabs there with Chivuvis. It looks like Nathan has dropped outside the DRS range as we're now approaching lap 3, where DRS is enabled. Only one DRS zone, as you mentioned, as Total P is ever so close to Giroud, and he has set the fastest lap as well for good measure. But Nathan, 1.4 seconds. He's actually in the clutches of Mark, Walter all over the back of Mark as well. Getting a good start of the line did the Dutchman on the back of the Maltese driver, and Killer Blue up to Pete on those medium compound tyres, the highest medium runner. He's doing a very good job as well. But yeah, let's see the top two. It's going to be very interesting to watch.
Yep, it's going to be a good battle, especially once you start seeing DRS come into play. So we'll see. But Total P is doing a good job, like you were saying, Jamie, of keeping track or keeping up with Jerome. But a little surprising, Nathan JB falling outside of that DRS range, which is so crucial for him. He might end up, if he's unable to close up, he might end up being a little bit of a sitting duck with the likes of Mark, Rotation, Ferg. He's at Kush right behind. You can see them all charging, but Wouter trying to get by Mark, it looks like, for a better part of the lap. He's been close, sticking within about 0.3 of a second, just has not been able to get that overtake done. But as they're going to come around the final corner now, we might just see that change here with the DRS being activated. Let's take a look. Here's we'll jump on board with Total P's as he's going to try to close up to Jerome. Can he do it before turn 1? It looks like Jerome Visser is going to be able to hang on here to that position, looking a little bit further behind. That gap has grown between second and third. Wouter not able to get past Mark. We've got a yellow flag though, and I think that's just
rotation. Yeah,
rotation. Not having a little bit of a moment, a little bit further behind the track, and it looks like Wouter's on a bit of a charge now. Saw ever so slightly a purple sector 1 flash up on his minimap here as he's still trying to chase down Mark.
Yeah, the yellow flag for Kushner, he spawned where rotation spawned, no contact between the two, it's just separate instance. So looks like Nathan's getting the release off the final corners because he had a very good gap to just stay in front of Mark as he had the DRS and slip shoes try close in. So Nathan just needs to keep doing that. Obviously he hasn't got protection in front of him with the no DRS ahead of him, whereas Total Peace has. But let's see what Nathan could do there. But P3's got a lot of pressure on his hands with 1, 2, 3, 4, a lot of drivers behind him with DRS. Mark, can he get a final 2 good corners to try and close it up on Nathan, or will Nathan get the release he wants? Mark goes a bit wide there, but will Nathan pull away using the ERS? Total Peace close enough to make a move on Jerome. I think he's a bit too far back to make a move on him. Obviously he's not going to go for it or die for it to turn 1 because it's way too risky to try and do that. But yeah, Mark's close enough. He's going to go around the outside. Nope. Nathan has the inside line, but he puts him offline, and therefore Mark can do the good switchback and try and get ahead of him. But Nathan then protects the right part of the road, has the inside line. Will Mark swoop around the outside? No, he can't. There's not enough space there. So Nathan, good defensive skills from him as Mark gets out of the shape. Killer Blue is out. And I wonder, will that cause a safety car? And it will cause a safety car. Walter tried to go around the outside of Mark, but obviously with the safety car being deployed, he's not allowed to make the move, so he has to slot in behind. But yeah, Killer Blue that the first man to cause a safety car, and that is, where is it? It is turn...
That was, I believe, on the exit of, well, it's either turn 2 or turn 3, depending on what you would, how you would call that. But just past where where the safety car is currently sitting and waiting. I think I didn't quite get to see it as I was riding on board with the battle between what was essentially Nathan JB, Mark, and then Wouter. That did happen a little bit behind that, so I don't quite have the insight on my end either. But it looks like there was a little bit of an unsettling of the car, I believe. But for Killer Blue, an unfortunate early end to his race as he was running very well up in 10th.
Giroud Vizza has opted to pit, so has Nathan. Walter. Nathan's got a 5-second time penalty for speed in the pit lane. That's not going to pay him any favours whatsoever when he gets that 5-second time penalty. But Total P's, Walter, Ferg, Isak Kush have opted to go for track position rather than a brand new set of tyres there, so that could be very interesting. We've got different strategies going on. I was wondering who would this benefit. Obviously, the medium runners going through because they're going to go for a longer stint. Tin Can now in P5. RJ, I believe the man started in 18th place, so he's made up quite a few positions. In fact, no, he started in 20th place, sorry. So last to 6th already on lap 6, already made up quite a few places, and in 6th place, looking comfortable on those medium compound tyres then. So race pace is looking very good, keeping out of trouble on the first few laps, and getting himself in that optimum position there. Giroud has rejoined in 7th place, not too bad for him. Nathan's rejoined in 8th place, but he's got a 5-second time penalty. So everybody, barring the top 6, have pitted. I presume Jamie Ward is going to go on the medium compound tyres if he wants to. We'll see. If he wants to get off those hards, he can do so now. No, he's going to go for another lap up. Well, he's going to stay out there. Krishna's in the pit lane. AJ stays out those hards. So Total Peace then has chose track position rather than taking a pit stop. So it's very difficult to overtake around here. So there's not another safety car. He'll do his normal soft and medium strategy, but obviously his tyres and Walter's tyres, Ferguson needs to push me much fresher towards the end of this racing compared to Giroud. Is that going to benefit him towards later, or can Giroud manage to hold off Total Peace, Walter, Ferg, and Issa Kush when they put on a brand new set of mediums?
Yeah, but very crucially though, when I'm looking at, the counterpoint to that with those who did take a pit stop, a lot of them, at least I'm seeing from Jeroen Visser down to Eklund. So a lot of these front runners, they decided to pit for a set of medium tires. Now here, as far as this stage of the race is concerned, we're only on lap 7, so I do feel the soft tires still have a decent amount of grip to them before they really start to fall off. Meanwhile, these medium tires for the likes of Jerome, Nathan, Mark, Carmentalist, and Eklund, I don't know, or I really don't think they're going to last until the end of the race. So I feel they're going to have to take a second pit stop. So by taking the shortened pit stop here under the safety car, I feel they might have just made their bed in essentially committing to a two-stop strategy here, having to maybe go on for a second set of soft tires. Maybe around laps, I don't know, 22, 23-ish, I would say. So maybe taking that gamble in hopes that we could maybe see another safety car, just compared to the likes of, let's say, Knight, Phil Fury, Passé, who they pit for a set of hard tires, who should, in theory, be able to make it to the end relatively comfortably.
And if they do have to pit again, the medium runners, if the car goes to the end, that means Knight, Val, Fury, Passé, Jamie, and all of them on the hard compound tyres have to re-overtake them on the track, unless they pull that gap to try and slot in ahead of him. But it'll be very interesting. Will it be a two-stop strategy for those medium runners, or can they go to the end? They've got like 23 laps, depends how long the safety car will stay out, because we're still waiting for Krishna to catch up. But yeah, we've got like over 23 laps on those mediums. Might be doable, I don't know. We'll find out if Giroud's confident if he can do a one-stop, because doing a two-stop is theoretically slower, but obviously with the safety car period, we'll never know.
Yeah, and I do think if they are going to try to make the one-stop work on the mediums, I really think the key here is, a little counterproductive, given that the grid is so bunched up, but you're going to have to focus on tire management at some point in this race if you're on the medium tires looking to go to the end.
And also? If they do go to pit again, Nathan will have to serve a 5-second time penalty, and that will cost him dearly, dropping all the way down, waiting 5 seconds extra than he would have wanted. So if they have to pit again, Nathan's in a bit of trouble there.
Yep, definitely. So we'll have to see. We'll see how that's going to play out. I think Nathan maybe might focus a little bit more on that tire management, like I was mentioning, compared to some of the others, so as to not have to be forced to serve that 5-second penalty. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this is all going to play out. But I do think one of those medium tire strategies might just be, if you're going to try to go for some overtakes, get them done maybe on that first lap, second lap at the most after the safety car comes in. Then maybe switch your focus on tire management so you don't end up just stuck in battles for 5, 6, 7, 8 laps straight, because that's where you really start seeing the tires start to wear out on you, and that's where you can start to be a little bit worried on whether or not those tires can truly make it to the end and still have a decent amount of pace to them. But safety car is coming in at the end of this lap, so a quick safety car here, or a standard safety car here of 3 laps. But as Total P's and the rest of the gang is getting the last little bit of heat in those tires, getting everything set up and ready to go. We'll see how this is all playing out. We'll see how this is all going to play out in practice once we do get into the restart here. So. Very slowly around the final corner we go. When is Total P's going to go? It looks like now it's going to be
so
when.
Close.
Yeah, Wouter, I think
so close behind him.
Caught that right off the get-go, but it looks like Ferg might have been caught napping just a little bit behind as he's at Kush. He was ready to go on the restart, about a 1/10 of a second behind. Can he get the move done going into turn 1? Not quite, as it looks like a rotation and Jamie and switch positions off the restart here. But side by side. Yeah, side by side they go, and Isaac Kush does get ahead to go up into P3, up to a podium position. So Ferg really caught napping a little bit on the restart compared to Isaac Kush, down at 1 position in 4th, and now might need to fend off XL Tin Can and the rest of the 2 other medium tire runners, along with the rest of those who took that pit stop there. But XL Larkin and Jamie 1, I think, might have gotten caught up here, as they both fell down the order, but I think maybe just having a little bit of a moment through that corner.
Someone else has dropped out. Is that
was Mark?
Mark.
That was Mark who is facing the wrong way on track. He's got to get that car spun around. Now he does, but the damage is already done as he's all the way down in P19 now.
Yeah, so on Ferg then, on the previous lap, well, this lap, before he goes to the next lap, he probably outbroke himself or messed up his corners there, so that put him offline, and that allowed Isaac Kush to get the run of him, go side by side, had the inside line, claimed the racing line, and yeah, there's nothing Ferg could do about it, other than go around the outside and risk it. But yeah, Isaac Kush then, right behind his championship rival, Relentless Walter, and it looks like Javu Vizza has made his way up into P6, getting past XLRJ, and now he's got Tinkan to dispose of, and Nathan is right behind XLRJ, waiting to make a move as well, as he's also on the brand new set of mediums compared to. He's got wide, dips a wheel in the gravel, but thankfully does not spin the rears up, stays on the track.
Yep, it was a good move from Jerome there, using that fresher tire to his advantage to get the overtake done before DRS gets reactivated here. Already gaining 1 position, but we'll see how quickly he can manage getting ahead of Tin Can to stick with the this lead group of cars of the top 4 who are on the soft tires, trying to build a gap, but really haven't been able to do so as much as you might have thought here off the get-go with that quicker tire. But here comes Jerome now, going towards the looking for an outside move, and he does get that move to stick here to go up into P5. So gets ahead of Tin Can before the DRS activation zone. But now DRS isn't able to, for the end of this lap to start next lap. But Jerome now up into 5th as he's now trying to chase down this top 4 who have now built a little bit of a gap here. Right behind Nathan JB down the inside of XLRJ. So it looks like those medium tires, after 10 laps, they're starting to lose that initial pace here. So you can see Carmentalist is already putting pressure. We've got a yellow flag here, and that's the Fury. Red Bull of Feral Fury, who had a bit of a moment into turn 2, I believe.
Yeah, he was having a fight with Rotation, AJ, and Passé. As Carmentalist has now got past RJ, as Carmentalist is on a brand new set of the medium compound tires. So is his teammate right behind. Now he has to make his way through RJ as well if he wants to stay in contention with these guys ahead. But Carmentalist then on the rear, and Nathan. Now Nathan's target is trying to get past Tinkan, who's on the older medium compound tire, sticking with Javoon. And if Tinkan gets the DRS of Javoon, it'll be very difficult for Nathan, because that DRS train will not help Nathan whatsoever to try and make his way forward and progress his way ahead of those older medium runners. But Javu Vizza all over the back of his teammate. I wonder, they're both on different strategies. Will Ferg play the team game? Will it be hard for him, or will it be difficult? I think, yeah, Ferg's run out of EOS. He's derated on the straight, and there goes Javu, and then in fact, they're side by side. I think, yeah, Ferg's lifted off there and allowed Giroud Visser to go through. So Giroud Visser has made about 3 places already in about 3 laps, so he's done a fantastic job so far. Is the Mercedes driver. Further back, I think rotation and Passay, or was that Passay and AJ? Yeah, I think it was Passay and AJ had a scrap for P13, and Passay stays ahead of AJ Wuhan. I think he just got past him, and now he's defending from AJ again, but yeah, he stays ahead for the time being.
I mean, that actually was Passay in rotation that switched positions
that.
there. No worries. I caught that just quickly looking at the timing tables here. But now Passay under pressure from AJ, who's trying to get ahead. But AJ on those 8-lap-old hard tires, so he pit well before the safety car. I think suffered a little bit of damage, but oh no, as he goes for a spin now, does AJ. So unfortunately, all that pressure not for much, as he's now back in P18th now, and he's gonna have to recharge back up the field, it seems. Meanwhile, Total P still hanging on to the lead of this race. Wouter, he's been getting close, but just has not been able to get an overtake done, as Ferg, he says enough's enough, going for a pit stop. Wouter getting close, but not close enough going into turn 1 with DRS. So Total P is able to do what he's got to do to keep that prancing horse behind him in that Ferrari, and that is definitely no easy task here in Division 1.
Problem with Tin Can. There's a problem with Tin Can. He's dropped further. He dropped into down into 9th place. Not quite sure what happened, because when I went on board with him, he was slowing down, and he went off into the gravel. So he must have had a problem somewhere. Maybe got a bad exit coming out of turn 4. But yeah, he's fallen down 5 places. And now he's down into P9, so Nathan, an easy move from him, but he's got a car mentalist all over the back of him, and he's got more DRS than Nathan as well, so Nathan's going to have to watch out for him, as Isa Kush is also right behind his championship rival as Ferg got out of the way. Ferg down in P19 on a brand new set of softs, so he's got to definitely pit again, because I don't think those soft tyres can go towards the end. But let's say the tyre wear is good around here. And due to the medium compound tyres, somebody's caused the yellow flags. I wonder who that is.
Looks like that was a Jamie, I believe, that might have brought that out just very quickly. Might have just had to hit the brakes ever so slightly to keep the car under control, but that's since been resolved. Wouter now once again going for the overtake. Meanwhile, Carmentalist is able to get ahead of Nathan JB with the help of DRS. So let's see now if Carmentalist can do what Nathan couldn't, and close up that 2-second gap to Jerome, who has kind of run away from that group of medium cars that he was with initially, but is now right up along the back of Isaac Kush, making this a 4-car battle for that for that top 3. Of course, keeping in mind that the top 3 have yet to take their first scheduled pit stops.
Just thinking, if the tyre wear is good around here, and Giroud's on the mediums, then the top 3, they're going to pit and going to fall all the way behind him, have a massive margin to make up towards the later end of the race. So Giroud, I think he's in a comfortable position as well. So if he wants to, he can go for the undercut. I don't think he will. If the tyre is good, he'll go all the way to the end, and the top 3 obviously have to make up that massive margin they've lost in the pit stop. So I think it's played towards Giroud and the comments, and Nathan more towards the top 3. So that's very interesting. Unless the safety car comes out, and they're going into the pits, Isa Kush and Total P's are in the pit lane for their first pit stop. So Wouter has been left out there on his own, and he'll have to respond to the next lap, because obviously of the undercut threat from Giroud and Isa Kush. But Eklund has got past RJ for P5. Good move there. Also on the medium compound tyres, following Nathan and his teammate Car Mentalist, is currently on the podium paying positions, it seems like. So good job. Good stuff there for Car Mentalist in P3. And where did they rejoin? Will they rejoin behind Ferg, because Ferg's on a set of soft compound tyres? In fact, is he rejoined ahead of Isa Kush? There he goes. And yes, he does. He does rejoin ahead of Isa. And obviously on those soft compound tyres as well, so you can hold him up. And this will benefit his team, or this will benefit Wouter, because Isa Kush then has to fight Ferg. So it'll be easy for him.
Definitely will, but we'll have to keep an eye out with Wouter how much this overcut is going to work out for him. Because of course, I mean, he's at Kush down in 19th, but Ferg on those soft tires, on a fresh set of softs, he's got a little bit of pace here compared to say if I compare to Wouter, who's on 14-lap-old softs. But as he's coming around the final corner now, is he going to take his pit stop? Yes, he will. So Giron now retakes the lead of this race with Carmentelis and Nathan JB following suit for the new, provisional podium if the race ended at this very moment. Of course, we're only halfway through, so loads of time left. But the question is now, where's Wouter going to come out? Is he going to end up ahead or behind of Izat Kush and Total Peas here after taking that extra lap on those soft tires compared to the other two he was battling? But meanwhile, on track, Rotation and Knight were alongside one another. Oh, there's a big contact between the two. It looks like Rotation gets the worst of it as he goes for a little bit of a spin, keeps it out of the wall, though, crucially. Hard to, I'm not too sure why, honestly, it looked like, I don't even know, what I'm trying to say there with that move. It was a little bit of a sketchy move, but I'll leave it at that before I start tripping on my words that much more.
Previously, Knight and Tinker were having a battle, and they made contact in the first three corners, so Knight got put offline, and therefore it allowed Rotation to be all over the back of him, but I think Knight turned in a bit too early on Tinkan and therefore made contact with him and put him offline. But made contact with Rotation again. Hopefully they both, one of them's not got any full wind damage. But Knight, under pressure from Krishna right behind him as Total Peas gets past Rotations. Nathan has got past Carmentelis. He's re-overtaken him for P2. And the yellow flag's further down, so I wonder what's happened there. That's AJ in the wall. He's lost his front wing.
Yeah,
and there's a virtual safety car that's been deployed.
Oh, and that's crazy scenes here is, I was looking down here at the bottom of the order. I got my Ferraris mixed up, though, very quickly, but I was riding with Wouter, and I think he was just about ready to go for a move on Izat Kush. It looked like he had the exit compared to the Aston Martin, but that virtual safety car came out and just put a little bit of a dent in his plans, so Wouter going to have to stick behind as he very crucially, though, like I was mentioning before, got a little distracted with that incident there. Wouter came out of the pits behind Izat Kush, so did actually end up in a net loss of time after that overcut. But back to green flag racing we go. Ferg putting a lot of pressure on the Red Bull of Feral Fury here, but I'll quickly switch back over to the leaders now and see. Very quickly is Ferg now getting ahead of the Red Bull driver on those slick tires with Izat and Wouter following suit. And Ferg having to go off track there to make the corner. So this is going to make things really dicey. Izat getting involved here, and is Wouter going to get involved as well? As now Izat getting ahead of the Red Bull driver, Wouter getting ahead of the Red Bull driver. So Feral Fury just kind of left his chopped liver there on that set of hards.
Nathan spun. Yeah, Nathan spun.
He did.
He's out turn 4.
Coming back on track now, but he's got no front wing on that Alpine, so that's going to be a big time loss from Nathan JB, as now he's got to get out of the way to let the likes of Krishna, Knight, and Larkin through, and I think there's going to be a little bit more here. Oh, was he nearly... Passe and Mark having their own little battle nearly get caught up there. Well, hang on a minute. Here comes Larkin and Knight going side by side into this next corner section. Let's see how this plays out. Knight on the outside, going a little bit wide on the exit of the corner, and it looks like Larkin gets the overtake done. There's a lot happening there through the span of what was essentially half a lap.
I was flicking on ball with different drivers. I see Feral Fury, Wouter, Ferg fighting. All I see Nathan spinning, and I see Knight and Larkin, Passay and Mark fighting. So all going off there within one lap. But that was crucial for Isa Kush, Ferg and Wouter to not get caught up in the midfield squabbles there and potentially lose it for win, because that was so close in that penultimate corner. But all 4 drivers there, but thankfully they made it way through cleanly if they did, because I went back on board with Nathan to see what happened. But that's a shame for Nathan, fighting for the podium pay positions. And look at RJ up into P4. Well, has he pitted? No, he hasn't. He's still on those medium compound tyres, and he's in P4, so he's doing the optimal strategy from mediums to softs, so he's doing a fantastic job. And despite being on all the tyres, he's still keeping up with Eklund, and bearing in mind he hasn't got a penalty either, so RJ doing a spectacular job down there in P4. Yet to pit on those soft compound tyres.
Yeah, and I know I believe it was off the safety car restart, I don't think I vocalized this, but I do remember seeing RJ just losing positions left, right, and center to drivers, just being overtaken, like, crazy, and I was trying to, I felt that as if his pace was just falling off there, and he made a mistake, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe he was just focusing a little bit more on tire management off the restart to get these medium tires to go a little bit longer, to then, once he does end up taking that pit stop for the softs, to really push those soft tires as hard as he can. But now I'm switching over to another on-track battle. I've got Mark and Passé just continuing this battle like they have been over the last few laps now. Mark looked like he was going to go for an overtake into those final two corners, but unable to get it done. There goes Tin Can into the pits now. Here comes Mark. Is he going to have enough to get ahead of Passé, who's on the hard tires? Going alongside. It's a DRS drag race into turn 1 here. Mark on the inside line, Passé on the outside. Looks like there's a bit of contact between the two drivers, but nothing to worry about there as Mark does get the overtake done and does get that car ahead as they go through into turn 4 and beyond.
Both getting slipstreamed by ISRL that, so probably both on the same speed as they head to turn 1. But yeah, very close racing. Tyre to tyre, thankfully no side pod off or wind damage as Walter gets past Jamie and into the hairpin, so good job from there. Walter to get past Jamie and into P11. Now it's Issa Cush's turn. He needs to get past Jamie as quick as he can to try and maintain with Walter. What do he do here? It's a bit risky, but nah, he stays behind. He knows too well not to go for it there, but more opportunities will arise. Let's see.
We'll see.
Coming to the chicane. He won't do it here.
No, but if he can...
You try and force him into an error, but obviously... Now Walter's pulling away. He's outside the DRS range of Jamian, and that's crucial for Issa Kush because he needs to be within that DRS range of Walter. Walter also needs to close it back on Total P's, and once Total P's is 1.8 seconds behind per se, he's got a whole lot of train of cars ahead of him as RJ is finally in the pits. He's on the soft compound tyres. Watch out for him, because he could be a mighty force towards the end. But here goes Issa Kush. Larkin got past Krishna for P4, and Issa Kush goes, and here comes Ferg on Jamian. He's also got past him for P12, so Jamie losing 2 places within 1 lap there. As RJV joins down in P15, so keeping down his pace towards the end, he could be mighty on those brand new set of those soft compound tyres.
Yeah, well, Jamian on 18 lap old hard tires, no DRS to help him out compared to the drivers behind. Was I mean, essentially just a sitting duck there with the fast flying Aston Martin and that Mercedes coming along behind with essentially with DRS alone. But it looks like Isaac Kush is going to have to try to close up that 1.3 second gap to keep some hopes of the championship alive. And that's Passé, who's out of this race. It looks like the initial contact was fine, but as he was trying to get that car back on track, I think just that extra little push into the wall was enough. And that, Jamie, that's going to bring out a safety car here on lap 21.
Oh, look at this. Jeroen Visser, as the accident happened, he went past the pit lane, and look who he's behind. He's behind the safety car. He can't go for a pit stop if he wants to, because those guys behind, that's going to put on a brand new set of softs or whatever, are going to catch up to Jeroen, and therefore he can't make his pit stop and try and stay in first place and maintain that track position. So he's lost out massively there, and Total P's is within striking distance again in P2, and so is Walter and Issa Kush. But the guys behind Issa Kush are going to fit on a brand new set of softs or mediums, and therefore going to be much quicker. So Jeroen might be in a spot of bother there, and safety car came out at the wrong time for the Mercedes driver, as it happened a few hours ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, crazy scenes here. I mean, it's hard to expect anything less after the, I mean, I'll call it the day of racing we've seen so far today, both in real life and so far here in the ISRL League Racing universe. But for Jeroen, he had that gap, and I was thinking it almost seemed like it was his race to lose here. But that safety car that was brought out from Passé, I mean, Passé just trying to get that car back on track after he was in the wall, doesn't want to reverse, because we've seen what happens when you reverse on track, where the marshals really just they've got a no tolerance on track reversal. They just disqualify you right away. So I mean, just Passé just stuck in the wrong spot, and just that extra little push of the gas, like it just unclipped that. I think it just unclipped his wheel like I mean, like a piece of Lego almost. But brought out the safety car. Jeroen just a little bit too far ahead. The gap was just a little bit too much. Wasn't unable to pit. So now he's essentially stuck between a rock and a hard place, as he's going to have to make those medium tires last. You would think at this point he's going to have to make them last to the end of the race, but with a lot of really hungry drivers behind him, the likes of, like you said, Total Peas, Wouter, and Izat Kush, that essentially came back from no man's land back up to second, third, and fourth on their fresher set of medium tires. And never mind everybody else behind who took that pit stop to put on a fresh set of soft tires to comfortably go to the end of this Grand Prix.
Oh, the one-stop has worked, depending when you pitted before the first safety car or after it. But in terms of Giroud, pitting after the safety car, the first one wasn't ideal because therefore it came out of the wrong place at the wrong time for Giroud. He just went past the pit lane entry, and that's when the safety car came out. If it was a little bit further down the road, he would have got past the safety car, and therefore he would have maintained that first place, went on to a brand new set of softs. But yeah, just wrong place at the wrong time, and you got to feel for him. Now, but he's still got a chance. He's got to defend from Total Peas, Walter, and Issa Kush. But obviously, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 11th, 12th on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres. They could be mighty quick. Maybe 5th and 6th could disrupt 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and maybe Giroud Vizza might have a chance to pull it away. But who knows? But Giroud Vizza's got a lot of his hands if he wants to win this race. Total Peas with a smile on his face, knowing that Giroud's tyres are older and might suffer towards the end a bit. But Total Peas looking very handy in 2nd place.
Yeah, but I think the key now for Jeroen Visser, once the safety car comes in, he's gonna have to take these. He's gonna have to make these first 2 laps work like a dream for him. Build that gap. Try as hard as he can to get that gap to within more than 1 second between himself and Total Peas. That could be his saving grace. With the likes of Wouter Izat Kush, I mean, you know the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are gonna be fighting as well, and even those on the soft tires. I mean, Carmentelis and Eklund are in a great spot, 5th and 6th as teammates. But of course, you might think that they might want to settle who's going to be the quicker driver of them both. So having these drivers maybe fight amongst themselves could play an advantage for Jeroen. But like I said, the key is to build that gap, get that restart down packed, and just hope that Total Peas behind them can be caught napping off the safety car restart, I think.
Indeed, and RJ as well up into P7 because he rejoined down in P16 behind Power Fury, I think. So it's benefited for him as well as the other guys pitted. So he didn't have to gain all that time back, and he's currently sat in a really good position in 7th place. Also has not got a penalty next to his name, so he could be very handy from starting at the back of the field. Yep, did start at the back of the field in 20th place, so from 20th to who knows where in the end. So we've got to keep it nice and clean. He knows the guys ahead are on medium and old medium compound tyres. He's on new softs because he only did 1 lap on these softcore tyres before the safety car came out, so his tyres are not in bad shape. So it's because could be scoring some good points here tonight is RJ. And safety car is in this lap because Nathan JB has caught up. He's right behind his brother in P17, AJ behind Fury, and rotation as well.
Yep, so here we go. The grid is being backed up. Jeroen Visser leading this pack of cars. I'm sure you can feel the nerves from up here in the commentators booth as Jeroen Visser getting that last little bit of heat, that last little preparation coming around the. Looks like puts a little bit of a tank slapper there, but now gets to go kind of work to his advantage there, maybe forcing a little bit of an extra checkup from Total Peas behind. But back to green flag racing we go as the drivers charge down towards turn 1. Single file here. Let's see if there's going to be any attempted overtakes from the drivers. Mark and Knight exchanging positions as they're going alongside, and it looks like Mark only just gets ahead as Mark Knight and Ferg look to be involved in a little bit of a battle amongst themselves here.
Logan goes down the inside of Tin Can. And he's got the move stick. Good move from him. Yes, he does. Gets the traction on the exit and moves up into P8. That's a very good move there. Just sent it down the inside. Very clean, no contact, and moved himself up there in P8. So that was a fantastic move.
Yeah, catching him napping almost a little bit there.
Rotation's got off the track. Nathan's got through on him. So AJ now is behind Fury. Let's see if those two are going to have a battle there for P15. AJ versus Fury.
take a look. We'll see that as jumping on board with them as they're coming through that chicane, heading down to the final corner. It looks like Farrell does get a good exit, which will most likely keep AJ Wuhan behind him. Meanwhile, looking back at the front here, Jerome still leading, but Total P's very crucially in the rest of the field, keeping that gap to well within 1 second, and you can see closing here as they head down towards turn 1. Not enough to get the overtake into that first corner, but very crucially though, or unfortunately for Jerome.
AJ and Fury made contact as turn 1 and turn 2, still making contact. They're so close, they're side by side, squeezed each other, and Fury stays ahead of AJ. And here comes Nathan JB as well, going around the outside of AJ, and he gets ahead, splits the two. But yeah, oh, here comes AJ back on the switchback, and Nathan, can he go around the outside? Nathan, will he outbreak himself? No, here comes back AJ as well, getting a better exit. Can he do it? They're side by side now, but Nathan has the edge on him. That was a good battle between Fury and AJ. Get bumping wheels, those two.
Yeah, very good battle indeed, and it looks like that's still going to be brewing here. But I mean, I want to keep an eye out on this battle, but I do see the gaps closing here with the leaders. I can see also XL. Well, that looks like XLRJ is trying to close up on Eklund. I'm going to switch to that one ever so briefly as they're all heading down towards the final few corners.
DRS this lap, it's it? Or next lap, shall I say?
Yeah, next lap they're going to have DRS. So Jerome has essentially one more lap to try to push, or he might risk ending up in a bad spot. We've got a quick yellow flag, but who is that? That's Nathan JB. Nathan JB, oh no, I don't know if there was any contact or if he just spun it on his own, but we saw that he was right up involved in that battle between with Farrell, AJ, and himself. Tin Can losing out in a couple positions here. What happened to Tin Can? As I think he had a spin on turn 2 as he's way down in P16. Nathan JB, he's said enough is enough as he retires out of this race. XL Larkin and XL RJ now side by side, or were side by side. Looks like XL Larkin got the overtake done as XL Larkin continuing a little bit of a charge here up the field. He's now got the two AlphaTauris of Eklund and Carmentelis to try to get by. But once again, as I keep saying, very crucially, that gap between first and second, or essentially this whole gap group of cars here, has not really moved all that much. And now with DRS essentially being active to start this next lap, Sharon Visser is probably, he's really going to have to nail this exit. Does get a good exit initially, but I think it's only going to be a matter of time here. On board with Total P's as he's charging, gets the move done well before the braking zone of turn 1. Is Wouter going to be able to maybe get ahead as well? It was close, but no, not enough. Jerome can hang on still in second. But I think you might just that might just be the beginning of the end, so to say, for Jerome, as he's on his tires are 10 laps older than those behind, and already lost out on the lead to Total P's on that what was the first opportunity here. But meanwhile, here comes Carmentelis putting a lot of pressure on Izat Kush. I think he tried to show he was going to go for a move here, maybe trying to force Izat into a mistake, but I mean, a very hard thing to do for a driver as skilled as Izat Kush to try to force him into a mistake here, especially this late. We've seen how clutch the Aston Martin driver can be here, especially in this very crucial championship battle between himself and Wouter. That could, well, I don't know if it could be decided here today. Not unless Wouter gets a victory, I don't think. But we'll see how that's going to play out here with still a couple laps to go. But Total P is really building a gap now, already up to nearly a second. But still, very crucially, Jerome within DRS range. Carmentelis getting ahead of Izak Kush with DRS as well. So those soft tire runners are starting to creep in a little bit now, showing that pace, which could really make things that much more interesting as the laps are ticking down and we're coming to this race is starting to slowly come to its end.
I thought Carl Menzelis was, oh yeah, it's actually alongside him. I thought he was going to go down the inside of Walter, but Walter getting a better exit on the outside there. Carl Menzelis, though, he can smell a pony more, a potential race win. Giroud Visitor, though, I must say, he's doing a fantastic job on those old medium compound tyres. He's still sticking with DRS range. He needs that DRS range. If he loses contact with Total P's, it'll allow Walter and Carl Menzelis with the fresher tyres, especially Carl Menzelis on the soft, to just sneak through. But previously, the lap before, Mark got past Krishna into turn 1 just before turn 1.
Oh no, sorry to cut you off, but Larkin and RJ had a little bit of a coming together, a little side pod connection, but that sent Larkin spun around, and that's sent him down to P14.
Oh dear. Those two are having a good fight when Larkin sent it down the inside into the slow corner there, but sadly they both came together. And Walter then, he's all over the back of Giroud. Giroud also derated on the straight. He's got no ERSs. He goes defensive on the inside. Will Walter try and go around the outside, claiming the inside line. They go side by side. Now squeezes. Oh, it's spun! Oh, has he took out the Alpha Tauri too?
No,
they make contact.
Carmentelis is...
Yes, Mark spun! He's hit the wall!
Oh
Mark's out of the race! Mark has lost his wheel!
I'm in shock.
This won't be a safety car. This won't be a safety car.
No,
but Carl
it's too late.
has got footwing damage. He's got footwing damage, I believe. Yes, he has. On the right-hand side of his own plate, ISRL Knight goes around the outside. But Giroud and Walter go side by side. Walter bounced off the curb, went into Giroud's car, spun himself, and Carl Menzelis hit the back of him. And Carl Menzelis, in a result of that, lost his own plate. So it's up to Eklund now to try and get that podium off Isla Kush, but third gets past Carl Menzelis. That all happened on the second corner. That's what happens when you go over the curves there. It's just the nature of this track with these curves as well, just sending you into your rival. But yeah, that's a shame there. But Total P's though, I don't think will be threatened from here on in. It might do from Eklund if he there's only 2 laps to go anyway, so if Total P's they just keep in control. It looked like Total P's wasn't going to win this race due to being in no man's land like you said earlier on, but it came alive with that second safety car. And ever since that second safety car came out, I was able to get back the race lead and keep control. But if Giroud managed to get on the podium still, that'd be a phenomenal achievement being on those 25 lap old tyres. So let's hope he can stay on the podium there. As ISRL Knight's been overtaken by Ferg, he goes up into P6. I think Larkin's got past Walter as well. Has Walter sustained any footwing damage? Might do on the rear, but on the front he got hit from the rear. I think rotation has spun coming out of the last chicane there. But yeah, what a last few laps that was, Eric.
Yeah, a crazy sights to see, and I was on board with Carmentelis through all of that. So I mean, good news for those watching at home. We got a front row seat to that entire incident. Maybe a little bit too much so, as just Carmentelis, unfortunately, just wrong place, wrong time, just unable to really get that car anywhere after the contact with that Ferrari spun, taking up essentially the entirety of the track. But I mean, complete chaos there a little bit. A crazy scenes there right at the end of the race, and I mean, Isaac Kush, who's running in third, a little bit of a gift.
Leader?
Sorry. Well, he will be, assuming he doesn't have a chaotic moment of his own here as we're starting the final lap, as he's chasing down Giron here. There's rotation, who's a ghosted car, very quickly gets out of the way. He's at Kush up into second. But I think we've got that was just rotation bringing out that yellow flag, I think, just trying to stay out of people's way. But yeah, it's going to be a new championship leader here after, assuming Isaac Kush finishes where he does, because I think it was about a 4-point gap separating both of these drivers coming into this race. So it's going to be a bit of a bigger gap now, but the positions will be switched, and it's going to make for a very good finale once we do get to it here. But we still have about a third of a lap to go here. RJ putting a little bit of pressure on Eklund as they're coming through that little chicane. A couple yellow flags here, and looks like in every sector. I think Krishna just having a little bit of a moment on his own there.
Ooh,
is RJ going to go for it? He thought about it, but no, wasn't quite able to get that to stick. But looking here, back at the front, it's Total P's crosses the line. He is your winner here. Isaac Kush and Jeroen Visser take the podium as, I mean, that was, I think, the Red Bull of rotation crossing the line in style, a little bit further behind. But, I mean, through all the chaos, you said it earlier. I gotta give a hand to Jerome Visser, making those medium tires last 26 laps. It wasn't the win like he was hoping for, but still managed to eke out a podium through what would have been just incredible. Incredible adversity here with everybody having essentially pit behind him. He still made it work for him and snags a solid P3.
Yep, indeed, that was a very good race there from Isa Kusha-Jarun, especially on those old mediums. He did a fantastic job, stellar job to defend from those soft runners. There, that moment with Walter Jarun, but I think it was just a race instant, really. There's nothing much you could do in those first two corners, just those curves, isn't it?
Yeah, those darn curbs. Like I feel like we've been saying that ever since this game came out. The darn curbs. And fitting how they play a factor here today. But like I said, with Wouter finishing down in P9 tentatively now at the end of the race, Isaac Kush up into second. We do have a new championship leader, as it's going to be the Aston Martin driver who takes the lead of the championship. But ladies and gentlemen, this championship is gonna go down to the final race of the season, which is going to be in Interlagos. So Jamie, I'm sure you know as well as I do that the Brazilian Grand Prix always brings out the best of pretty much any driver here. That's gonna be a good one, and I'm already excited for next week, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there. The Brazilian Grand Prix, I commentated that a few days ago, and it was an amazing race. So I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that one to happen. It's gonna, yeah, there's loads of DRS trains as there always is, but side by side action, you're gonna see plenty of it, especially with these drivers. You see the Imola today, but can't wait for that last race of the season coming up next week.
Yep. Yeah. It's going to be it's going to be a good one, but of course for us here today, we had a great race here in Imola, and his total P's from second on the grid up to the top step of the podium. He is your winner here in Imola, with Isaac Kush, Jeroen Visser rounding out the top three, Eklund and RJ rounding out the top five, Jamie and Knight, Larkin, Wouter, and AJ rounding out the top 10. Shoutouts to RJ and Knight, P20th and P18th up into the top 10 here, as I just quickly had to scroll down to get the rest of the order before we disappeared. But it was a great race. That final safety car that came out a little bit later really seemed to have played a huge factor in the outcome of this race. But it made it all the more exciting for us here in the booth to commentate, and I was more than happy to take you all through it. And Jamie, I'm more than happy to have you join me here in the booth once again for that banger of a race.
Yep, I agree. We got separated last week, but nice to be back with you commentating. Some of you may be happy tonight, some of you won't. If you know, I'm talking about what the championship in Abu Dhabi, but if overall it was an enjoyable race, and some of you be questioning the FIA choices. I do, even though I'm a Max fan, but yeah.
Yeah, but it was a great race here. Let's put up that. Let's put up the Mercedes here. Unless we get the podium interviewers to join, I think at this point they all already have the invite into the comms booth. So we'll see if they want to jump in, but I'll go through my little housekeeping as I always do at the end of the stream. It was a great race, but it's essentially come to a close here. Was a fantastic race, but of course, gotta give a couple thank yous out here, as I always do. Gotta thank the partners here, Advanced Sim Racing, IFEA. Thank you guys for your support and allowing us to do what we do, and of course my unofficial and third partner, you, the fans. Thank you for tuning in week out, week out. You guys are why we do what we do here, and I do hope you enjoyed the action as much as we did here today. But unless we've got a couple podium interviewers join, Jamie, I gotta ask, do you have any final remarks before we end off the stream here?
Just can't wait for the next race. Really, it was a fantastic race here. A concept, a bit argy-bargy, but that's all about racing. And we'll see what happens next week between Isakush and Walter.
Yep, we will have the championship decider in Division 1 take us to the final race of the season. Who will take it? Will it be the three-time defending world champion, or will it be or will it be Izat Kush? I believe he won it last season, if I recall correctly, but I'm getting them a little bit mixed up. But we'll see how this is all going to play out once we take to Interlagos next week. But that's going to do it here for the stream here today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Jamie, like I said, thank you for joining me in the booth. It was fantastic to have you here with me once again, back together, taking you through the action. But until next week, on behalf of Jamie, myself, and everybody here at ISRL Esports, thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves a fantastic evening.